Before starting the presentation and the speech and tips or the toolkit, I would like to check the picture. The picture shows like a Catalan Spanish tradition. It's called Castells. It's coming I think like 18th century. So the aim of this group of people is to build as high, as tall they can, a human tower. It's no technology, it's not any kind of special effect. It's only human beings working together and trying to get as high as they can, as fast as they can, without any accidents. The tradition changed a bit. Started like a pagan tradition. Obviously, there was Spain, so then they become like a religious and Catholic tradition. And nowadays, it's only a competition. Competition between 60 different teams that they are during the year in different locations, competing and mastering this kind of practice. Even evolution about technology and the society, that didn't change that much. They still believe in the trust, in the communication, in connecting and practicing. There are only maybe two main things that they changed. Like in the 80s, they accepted women in the team, finally. And the 2012, they put like a new rule where all the children under 4, they should wear a helmet. There were too many accidents. Anyway, let's start. I'm Joseba. I'm from the Basque Country, San Sebastian. It's a small city in north Spain. It was not famous at all like a while ago, but now with all these foodie TV shows, it's getting really popular. We do have more Michelin star per square meter than any other city in the world, after Kyoto in Japan. That's how we love food. Food is a religion in my town, and obviously that's why after uni, so original, I decided to build a restaurant. In an abandoned farm, 23 years old, man think like I have like a really original idea. I'm gonna do a restaurant. It was like 10 years of iteration. That was my first product. Like I iterate again and again, starting from 4 walls and crappy roof, and trying to invent and reinvent and check what they like, what they don't like. So it was intense, but it was like 10 years of a lot of learnings. I had like 10 years of restaurant, and anyone that works in the restaurant knows like how busy and 7 days and non-stop is. So I came to London for a break. Like I thought, I'm gonna learn a bit of English, I'm gonna relax a bit. And I started, testing the digital. And in digital, I did all kinds of things. I did like customer services. I built like some, project teams. They sent me to Glasgow to do like some kind of outsourcing. So I did operations, I did project management, program management, and the last years I'm doing like a product. I touch a lot of industries, like energy, e-commerce, luxury commerce, and nowadays I'm working in Condé Nast. Condé Nast, it's a publisher, a media company that, they have like iconic brands. We have Vogue and GQ and Vanity Fair. I always explain that, because when they called me about like we have a position in Condé Nast for you, I didn't know what they were. I'm like, what's that? So, but as soon as you understand what they own, like the kind of communication and how they, shape the culture that we have, there was kind of, okay, yeah, that could be a good place to start. And every time that I change works and industry, it's a lot of learnings. In this one, especially was the transformation that is going through this company. This company has been the best of the best, like creating culture, creating tendency, marking what fashion should be, what lifestyle is, or the New Yorker is shaping the opinion, like the Wire is telling us what is the latest in tech. But the platform changed. Like no one buys any more magazines. Like a few people maybe they do, but it's more anecdotal than before. So the company that owns all this suddenly is pushed out to be like, no, you have to convert yourself. And that's the transformation that we are going through. A lot of examples that I'm going to put, they are based in Condé Nast, because I think it's really easy to rely on that. I think all or most of us, we are in that journey of transformation. When we build, or I build product teams, like as Alison explained, like it's kind of a really diverse teams with diverse skill set, and we put them in this kind of reality. When we know that competition is getting harder, Trends are, changing faster than ever. The product cycles are like a really, really quick, and every year is something big happening, like a COVID, Ukrainian war, inflation, inflation like higher than ever. So it's really difficult to do like any year-on-year predictions. Like nowadays, you go week on week almost, and try to improvise and learn on the go. So this is not happening only to product. Like we've been asked, like do a strategy, like make sure like we are ready for the future. When there are like so many variants, it's affecting all of us. A part of that also, like most of the companies that they are kind of a good reach as Condé Nast. Condé Nast is across 32 countries. We are asked to do like one product that's going to be global. Going to be global, going to work, like it's scalable, it's easy to maintain, but obviously each market has like a different legislation, each market has like a different taste, each market has like a different, expectation in advertising. So it gets a bit complicated. When we are also measure, we cannot measure, or we try to measure everything, but not always we got the right things, right? Like companies are obsessed about productivity. You have to be more efficient. You have to produce more. And what we see in this time is like productivity is dying. Like it's quite difficult the way that we calculate the productivity, that it's how much value it's in the output certain time and how much value it's in the input that we put. We see like we are getting less and less. Why? Because we have like a more and more structure and more frameworks and more legislations and more quality checks. So we are getting like a better maybe in the output, but it gets like a harder and harder. And what we see in the latest years, it's also because we are like under pressure that we are not being productive enough and we don't do enough, we are investing more and more time. More and more time, like taking for our own life. I mean, no one works anymore 8 hours because you're always going to have like a late email, or someone is connecting from the US, and why are you not going to check that email and respond? So little by little, we don't help each other either. In Condé Nast, in my teams, like I have like 4 product teams. They are really diverse. They are based in Bangladesh, they are in New York, they are in Paris, they are in Mexico, they are in Munich, they are in Madrid. So it's a really, not complicated, but challenging structure that we are trying to do. So what I provide them is like a small toolkit that we're going to talk about in that, and that helps them at least to, to smooth this kind of a difficult scenario. So the first one is like and I should ask Alison that picture that she had, because the product team is, in my case, we have like developers, we have designers, we have a product manager, obviously, but we have like a marketing product manager, we have a UX researcher, we have a data analyst. So it's amazing to have these people with different skill set, but they are individuals. They are human beings, they've been trained, and they have to do their stuff. So, and there are like a lot of examples, right? Like Chelsea, Real Madrid, all these football clubs that they bring the superstars. And then they put all superstars together, they take like a beautiful picture, and they say like, here we go. It's a winner team. They don't win at all at the beginning. It's some kind of a process that they have to go through. So this is the same thing that we take in my team. Like in my team, I don't like to see individuality. I do, recognize and celebrate when it's like a team position. So a good example of that, and I steal that from a guy that I really admire. In 2003 in France, there was like a world championship, athletics. We're going to focus in this relay race that is 400. For 8 final teams, they got it to the final. The main favorite was US. The US had the fastest women in Earth. So they got the talent. So it's not that they are really good. This year, they are smashing it. They are really, really good. So I put in comparison with the team that is hosting France. it's quite easy win for them. So obviously, it's not that exciting because everyone's like thinking, well, US will be smashing because they already smashed the 100-meter race. They also smashed the 200 one, and then this is the next one. It will be like a bingo. So the race went through. The Americans, they were really fast in the individual race. But the point, it was they were not good passing the button. The French team, though, it was not that good individuals. They sacrificed the individual effort in the race, in the last meters, screaming really hard to make them aware the button is coming. You don't have to turn. You're going to notice that I'm really close to. And the button pass was the fastest. That's why French team won. It was a huge celebration. Imagine Paris, world champion. So it was a big thing. But it also shows how sometimes the cold transfer that we do in our life, where we talk about the sprints, we all do sprints. 2 weeks to do a lot of work. The developer are going to code as fast as they can. The tester will have to test as fast as they can. The product manager is already thinking in the next sprint and creating all these stories. The point is who is looking after that the code will be easy to test? I think the real professionalism shows that it's not a cold transfer, I did my thing. It's what happens next? Is the next one ready to take that? It's clear enough what they have to test? Is the use case really well explained? So that's the first tool that I gave them. I encourage them and I celebrate when they do a team thing. Don't measure the individual race. Measure the full race. Don't measure a product team because we have really good developers. They code really fast. Or, wow, that user research got a impressive insight. No, it's as a team, how much they do, how well oiled is that machine. That's the first tool. The second tool, it's about the context. In my day-by-day, I have a few developers that they are coming from the startup environment. And they are, really frustrated. We have also some of them coming from the fast e-commerce, and they're like, Josh, really? Any decision takes ages in Conde. We are so slow. We are like a mammoth. I mean, we are still catching up, and we will die there. And it's I understand their perception. They are coming from a really fast environment. Well, it's a lot of, everyone is aware of A/B testing, ABC testing. So in Conde, it's wow, it's a fiction for us. We are still learning up and going as fast as we can, but it's slow if you compare around. So I always invite my team to check with a really critical eyes where they are. So understand the past of this company, understand also the now where we are, and understand the future. As soon as they understand the role that they are playing here, that they are changing a massive company through this transition, they get more engaged. They're okay, I understand now what's going on. Okay, I'm going to put from my side as well to make sure much better understanding why is this reaction, why is this opposition. Okay, they are not feeling secure. I'm going to give them some cases. I'm going to explain what is going on in the other areas, in other industries, in other companies. So that helps them to be more engaged and feeling okay, I'm playing a role on this. Also with the people. So we have a lot of editorial that they are superb editorials. They write super inspiring storytellings or investigation, but they are moving now from print beautiful magazines to, you have to learn SEO, you have to be really good on SEO. These pictures are not good because in the mobile they look awful. Forget about the landscape thing, we do only portrait now. So these guys, they are reinventing themselves to figure out okay, I have to learn the digital and I have to get all the tricks in place. So our teams getting to know these kind of things, they don't get us and them, and they are so old-fashioned. They are taking actually, I'm going to help them to do that. And we have a lot of engineers that they are sitting with the editors and they discuss about well, what I want to say is this kind of things, a video with, the Met Gala. I want to do a video. Okay, forget about the landscape. It will be a portrait because that will help us for the social. That will help us to do some story shorts. So what I meant is like when people understand where they are and the role that they play, they change their attitude. They change like, okay, yeah, I have a role to do. And who doesn't like to help people? Everyone likes to help people. So you have to give the chance to the product team to understand where they are and what they are playing on. And the last one is communication. I think like almost everyone in the stage talk about communication, how important is that. And I think it's natural because we are going to more individual approaches nowadays. We spend a lot of time on the phone. We kind of don't call anymore, like we WhatsApp things. And if someone calls you, like, oh, what's going on? Is something happening? So it's so strange. So we are kind of isolating ourselves like in more individual thing. That communication still is something in humans that works. So if I say, for example, Australia gonna win the World Cup. So some of you, like, I will start thinking about Australia, no chance. The World Cup, no chance. World Cup in Qatar, well, that's a really bad country. So it's kind of a thing that you do with communication. I trigger already some of you thinking about something that you were not planning to. So, and that's the power of the communication. Now, with that power, you have to start like tuning and packaging correctly, right? When we talk to editorial and we say, oh, we are changing to React, all the CMS now going to be in React. And they're like, okay, whatever. But we are saying, like, no, that's going to give us a chance to make sure like it's, we're going to renovate. The interface is going to be more intuitive for you. So we are redesigning in that kind of thing. Or they are like, oh, yeah, I'm interested now. Or the same example to the chief financial officer, we're going to go like done. The React migration is done. And they were like, and what? But as soon as you say, like, well, do you remember the legacy that we are paying? Like, because we have like a different platform, we can switch off that. A financial officer, great, one less cost to have in my P&L. So you have to package the communication in the way that you will, be perceived. The other one is like, and I learned this from the hard way, because it's an ego part when we are communicating. So when you are communicating about something or you are trying to convince someone, you are sometimes over-elaborating because you want to show like how was your journey to figure out that kind of thing? How was your journey to discover that thing? It's kind of an ego that I spend so much time like working on this, learning on this. I want to showcase like how clever I am or how smart I am or how lucky I am. But I want to show that. Sometimes that's just against the message. The message will be diluted on that because people will have like a different understandings. It's going to be like subtleties in that message that will be misunderstood. The other thing with the simplified communication is, in our case, we have, as I said, like really diverse people located in really diverse places. English is not the first language for them. So for them, if they understand 60% of what's going on, it's already good enough. So you have to simplify the message to make sure like all of the team members are on the same page. All of the stakeholders are on the same page. And that's kind of an exercise of ego, saying like, well, I would like to tell how was my journey together, but I will have to cut that, and I will give you only, this is the result, this is what we should be doing. Yeah, and sometimes like adapt also to the context. In our case, it's a transformation, it's a situation where a lot of people, they are scared. We are not changing only platforms. We are not changing only from magazine to digital, video, social. We are also changing the business model. So one thing that we learned from the COVID in my company is like we were relying on advertising too much. Like 90% of our revenue was coming from advertising. In COVID time, all the companies, they stopped the marketing spend. So we didn't have any income. So the company realized like it was not like a bulletproof or company. No one is, but ours was like too fragile. So we changed the business model now to do new things. E-commerce, subscriptions, running events. And that also scares people. One, we are doing something new. Two, the traditional advertising thinks that they are losing their power there. Like, hold on, are you putting like buy tickets instead of my display ads? What's going on? So you have to also package that communication to that context to make sure like you cannot create more fear. You cannot create more instability. You have to be aware of where you are and then package the context that way. So, communication is not only like a talking and talking, it's also like to make sure like it's transparency and putting the right frameworks. So I'm not gonna go to OKRs, all the stuff, because I think most of us, we are trying to do. But the concept is, we do product reviews. Product reviews, it's a ceremony that my team does every month. So my team is like organized by brand. So I have like a GQ brand, or Condé Nast Traveler brand, or Architectural Digest brand. So these product leaders, they take all the product team, plus all the stakeholders, and 1 hour every month, they're gonna check about what's going on. What's going on as a performance, like traffic, revenue, new initiative. Also, what is the latest the product learn or test or try or release. But also it's looking to the future. And always with this kind of a structure. Is this going to our objective? Because time to time you have like someone really clever coming to play and saying like, oh, I have a different idea. We should be doing a circus. And they're like, it's not in our area. But people get like really engaged because it's a new thing. It's a different thing. We should be doing that. Oh my God, I have an idea how to run that. So it's this kind of a meeting. They have to bring these kind of teams. And the full team will say no. Because we are already committed to this one. So we have to make sure like, oh, it's there in the plan, or if not, we are saying no. So recap. So it is difficult to run a product team because it's diverse. It's a really chaotic reality, and we're asking a lot. But I do consider like a high performance product team. It's one that is engaged. They believe in the value and they are aligned with the business. And if you give them the cooperation sense of the team and work more like a team than individuals, if you give them the context where they are and what is their role, and the ability to master the communication, I think you have a really good chance to have like a really effective product team in your team. Well, that was me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to you guys.
All right, jump into Slido with your questions. First of all, that graph that you showed about the death of productivity was like quite startling.
It's kind of scary.
Yeah, I kind of thought it was working the other way. I don't know.
And if you think like a 1950s, Japan had the advantage of having like a really good technology and work culture. So it was like a good combination to be like every year doing more. But I think like a technology, everyone got it. And then it's getting like a more, I would say like a barriers to that kind of a productivity. And I don't think like it's a negative barriers, because I do think like we have to go for the quality and we have to make sure like everything is regulated. But yeah, I think maybe thinking about productivity, do more is not the healthy one.
Yeah. Speaking of healthy, someone pointed out it's kind of funny that 5-year-olds in the stacking competition don't eat.
Apparently not. I mean, that's kind of a scary. I check like how many accidents happens, but I think it's also like the sense of someone could fail, and apparently in the base they are ready to catch. And I was like, still risky, but yes, I will consider that everyone should be wearing a helmet.
Yeah, I think the brain isn't done cooking until we're like 23 or 24, so wear your helmets, people. Have you been part of a human tower?
No, it scares me. You need a lot of training, I guess. I mean, no, thank you.
All right, after this, we'll try one right in here. Let's see if we can get to the ceiling.
Well, apparently, like the record is 10 levels of humans, and the weight that they have is like 3 adult elephants. So, yeah, it's a no for me. I mean, guys, if you can try, I mean, good. For me.
All right, shifting topics. Interviewing people for your product teams. What do you look for in a fit for those teams?
Yeah. I have to be honest, I did I'm kind of a ruthless on the interview. I have like 3 things. Like 1, can do the job? Like are they skilled to do the job? 2, do they love the job? Because we know that it's up and out. I mean, even you like the job, sometimes like, oh fuck, like I cannot do more. So you have to love the job. And the 3rd one is a good match for the team. And I did sacrifice. I did say no, really brilliant individuals, but I knew that wouldn't work in a team. When I see like a solo, sometimes I pass to talent and say like, look, if it's any strategy position, this guy could be a crack. I mean, really good. But for my product team, maybe not. I mean, and I learned the hard way. I brought like an amazing product guy from Denmark, but he was like a really individual. And he couldn't share, he couldn't, cooperate, it was always like but that's not my role. That's not my role, Josh. Like, I shouldn't be doing that. Like, but it's your team. You have to make sure, like, it's a team thing. So yes, that's my process. Like, if it's not a team player in the interview and I can notice that, I wouldn't go for that.
That's interesting. Yeah, like, your performance, your accomplishments, that's one thing, but like, what about your individuality, your ego? Is that going to overpower the team?
And look, all of us, we have egos. I mean, but it's also like to let play ego when it's good and positive. But I think like in the product organization that we run, doesn't help.
Yeah. And how do you balance bringing diversity into the team as well?
Yeah, and look, you can see some people that they never did that. So they're like, oh, I don't know, like, but you can see also they are open to it. When people, you can feel that they are defensive, like, no, but that's my role. I have to decide that kind of things, or good ideas. Everyone can bring the good ideas. The difficulty is like to make the team or make stakeholders believe in that idea. So, who cares what's the idea coming from, right? Like, but I think like some people you can see already like, no, that's my idea. I own that. It's mine. So like, no, not gonna work.
So we've talked about bias today. We just talked about diversity. So you talked about feeling like someone's a good player for the team. How are you doing that in a gut feelings are powerful, but also like that also introduces a risk for bias. So how do you balance?
Yeah, we work with talent and HR, and they gave us like some kind of exercise to practice them. So, and depending how they are organizing, well, we say like, okay, this is the challenge that this company has, how you will build some kind of a strategy, and what's the team that you need for that. So the way that they already draw that team already says like a lot about the way that they think about hierarchical, about like participation, ownership, responsibilities. So we work with HR to make sure like because as you say, like someone could be biased and you maybe have like a strong belief on that, but you're wrong. So we work with HR to have like a proper framework.
Cool. And I just loved what you chatted about simplifying your language, talking with the team, and also avoiding that over elaboration.
Yeah, I mean, remember, even in Amazon, they are like a one-pager. Like, in one page, if you cannot explain one page, like, it's not worth it. And I think this, again, the ego, you have to take the ego out and make it ruthless about this is the idea, this is what I'm talking about. Make sure like everyone understands you. Like, because that's the difficulty in nowadays. We are individual, different skill set, different backgrounds, whatever, or understanding on the same communication could differ. So let's give less chance to, interpretation and make like a really simple.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.